Cool. And I think I've talked her into a part two, y'all. So just FYI. So,
Okay. Cue it up. Cue it up.
all right. All right, sweet. So I have started the recording, so you are welcome to take off.
All right. Well, thank you guys for all joining me here. My name is Becky Bertram, and I own a consulting company called Savvy Technical Solutions. It's been around since 2012, I believe. I always have to think about that. I had my first daughter, started the company, and then two more kids after that. So I always remember that being smushed right between kid number one and two. So we've been around for a while. It's based in the St. Louis area, so another Midwestern company up the metaphorical road, although it's a bit of a drive. But I'm always happy to join your group. So thank you for having me again.
So, did you know we started our companies in the same exact year?
No, I didn't.
So I started mine February 10th of 2012.
I think mine was May something. So right after that. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Very good. So normally I would say I'm a fan of interactivity. When I do presentations, I usually like a lot of interactivity, but there is like a lot of information to get through in a short amount of time. So what I would say is if we can, if it's a quick question, feel free to interrupt me. But if it's going to turn into a long back and forth about, but philosophical approaches to things, I probably don't have time for that. All right. So I'm just saying, I want this to be interactive, but I might kind of say, let's put that in the parking lot if we want to come back to that stuff later. And if you guys do want to follow up with me later, feel free to reach out. I mean, I'm happy to talk about it. And again, if I come back again for part two, like Stacy
Yes.
said, I'll be happy to do it to follow up. So this is me. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, and I've been an MVP since 2009. If you want to reach out to me, here is my email address, my phone number, and my LinkedIn profile. And again, like I'm dead serious. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk. I love getting to know new people in different industries and across the country. Um, yeah, my company, I guess this is sort of yada, 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 but we are a women-owned business, SBA certified, et cetera, et cetera. We operate in Illinois and Missouri. All right, so today we're going to talk about the Microsoft AI landscape. We're going to talk about what exactly is an agent. We're going to talk about built-in agents. That's really going to be the focus, is what the Frontier program is. And we're really going to talk about not the agents that have been around for a while, but what are the new ones that are coming out? How is it working? And at the end, I'm going to touch on custom agents. Again, we don't have a lot of time for that. And then I'm going to show you real quick in the admin center, what they just rolled out was Agent 365, and that was released at Ignite in November. So let's first talk about the AI landscape. So when we talk about the complexity of what we're dealing with, this is sort of a little chart I just kind of came up with to sort of explain where we're at, right? Because it gets very confusing for people. What's Copilot? What's an agent, etc. So we're going to first talk about the versions of Copilot, because that also is very much of a moving target. So Copilot free. This is what you have when you're dealing with, like if you go to Bing, if you're in Internet Explorer or Edge. I'm so old. Edge. It's not been Internet Explorer for a long time. And you just do a free search, right? That's for everybody. And then we get into Microsoft 365 Consumer, and I'll walk through all of these. Microsoft 365 Chat, and then we get into Microsoft 365 Copilot there. So first, we'll talk about the free version. This is the one that, again, is available in Bing, Edge. If you go to Windows 11, I just got a new laptop at Christmas. And it's funny, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but like sometimes I'm like, I need a new pair of shoes because I need a new old pair of shoes because my old pair of shoes are worn out. So I was like, I need the family computer is a Windows 10 computer. It's so old. I need a new family computer. So I got a new computer for me so our family could get the old one. And it has one of those cool little co-pilot buttons on it, which I thought was really gimmicky at first. And now I'm like, oh, that's like the most helpful thing ever. So this free tier, again, we're all familiar with. All right, so then we get into Microsoft 365 Consumer. The reason I'm bringing this up is it used to be that you could buy something called Copilot Pro, which is basically if you wanted like Microsoft 365 Copilot, but in your own private tenant, essentially. Now what they're doing is basically saying they've rolled out these new plans that are consumer centric, that are individual, family, and consumer premium. So it's like this parallel track for home users. The interesting thing is if you get the family, it's only for the subscriber. Only one person gets Copilot. So I was like, what's the purpose of that? That seems really chintzy to me. But anyhow, you can have your whole family on it, but only one person gets to use Copilot. At any rate, I wanted to put that out there because if your organization doesn't have Copilot enabled, this is a good way for you to pay with sort of you don't have to wait for your organization to pony up the cash. If you're at a place that doesn't have licenses, you can do it on your own and just play around with it, try it out, that kind of thing. All right, so Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. This is the same as the free Copilot. The difference is it is guaranteed that the data doesn't leave your tenant. So this is if you are on a Microsoft 365 business or enterprise or EDU tenant, but you are not licensed for Copilot. So it's the same as the free chat, except there's a guarantee that you are not leaving your data is not leaving the tenant. Additionally, basically what Microsoft has started doing is providing the generative text and the summary text available for a single document. If I'm in Word, I can generate a slide, I can summarize the deck. I can do the same with Word and Excel and Outlook and things like this. But the difference is I'm still not grounded in my entire tenant. It's sort of document by document. So it used to be that we really encouraged a lot of folks who were like, buy the paid license because you don't want people using the free tools out there that are going to train the model with your data. We actually have a lot of clients now where we go, you know what, if this is enough for some people to do what they need to do, then it's free. You got it. Just go for it. Right. And so this is legitimately if this is enough for them. But we're going to talk about agents and why that is going to be less and less sufficient for people. Because once you start using agents, you go, this is not good enough anymore. All right. So Microsoft 365 Copilot, that's the version where AI is grounded in your work data. And that's where you can say, create a contract based on my last 5 contracts, right? And create a PowerPoint slide off of my Word document, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really the benefit, show me all the messages I missed in Teams and in Outlook. This is very different than the free version that it's just giving you a single document, single view at a time, right? So this is what we've been traditionally talking about for the last couple of years, which is that paid version of Copilot. Okay, so let's talk exactly about what an agent is. So this is where I'm going to be talking about built-in agents. And again, this is going to be the heart of what we're talking about here. So I asked Copilot what an agent is. Course. And it said an agent in the Microsoft 365 and Copilot context. So again, agent is a generic term, right? I mean, you can say agent on the phone and you'll get a customer service agent or a bot, clearly it's a general term that's been around for a long time. But I would say the biggest thing here is it is a task-specific AI assistant designed to perform actions or workflows rather than being a general purpose AI like Copilot. It's a specialized digital helper that can automate tasks, analyze data, or provide targeted support within your apps and processes. So here's another way to look at it. Copilot is a generalized agent. The thing about Copilot or these personal assistants is you ask it a question. We've all heard about create a specific prompt, right? All this prompt engineering. How do you create a prompt that gets you exactly the result that you want? But even when I'm going through stuff, right, it's like create a blog article based on this PowerPoint document. Okay, now, okay, do it again, but this time shorter. Do it again, but this time with professional tone. So you're constantly having to go back to the assistant and saying, no, do it this way, do it that way, clarify, clarify, clarify. And it's a back and forth, right? It's input and output, request and response. What's happened is what's happened is that I heard it summed up a really great way that just made a lot of sense to me. AI, its randomness is what makes it feel very human, right? It's going to be different every time. But the whole definition of a process is always the same every time. So you're trying to marry up, well, I want to use AI for my repeatable process, right? Well, those are going to butt against each other. So what is happening now with agents is really getting into these micro processes, right? So this is, I want to create a Word document. And instead of it just creating one for you and you go, that's not right, do it again. Now we actually have the very basic feature that says, okay, you want to create a Word document. What is the tone? How long is it? What do you want it to look like? So there's now a process built in that's making assumptions about, let's ask for clarification up front without you having to do this back and forth, right? So the idea is that they're more task specific. So rather than generalized, I'm here, ask me anything. One of the big things that I started working with a bot framework back about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. That was a long time ago. And they had something called Lewis. That was this thing a long time ago that you could work with. And essentially the way a lot of these agents would work, the bots would work, is it's a this concept of intent, right? So you're like, if you have one bot that says I can order pizza, but another one that says give me a recipe for pizza, if it hears the word pizza, it would be like, I'm 20% sure you want this or 80% sure I want that. That's figuring out that intent. And so when we're getting into, I think a lot of the problem at the beginning I saw with Copilot, they're like, you can plug an agent to it, but nobody knows it's there. You built this whole thing that the benefit of a UI is it has a screen with buttons and you know what button you're supposed to, what form you're supposed to fill in, right? Having this sort of like one size fits all thing is people don't know what they can use it for. And that's why we started getting into, hey, Copilot, tell me what I'm supposed to ask you, right? It's sort of redundant, right? So the point is I think as great as an idea it was, they're just sort of a fundamental issue of like, we still have a job to do. I still have to manage projects. I still have to create legal contracts. I still have to do whatever, right? So at a certain point, there still needs to be business process involved. So the idea here is that you can have task specific agents. There's a project manager agent for managing projects. And again, they're often multi-step and interactive. So again, the agent's going to ask for clarification, ask for information, rather than just generally, that's where we get that AI slop from, right? We're just going to take something and send it back to you, and then you have to tell us if it's wrong. So it's going to be a lot more helpful, really what it comes down to. So this is where I kind of was going with that, whether that free version is going to work for you. Essentially, if you talk about a freemium model, at first Microsoft really wanted everybody to pay for that text generation and summarization. Those were the key things that it did. But the thing is, they realized that guess what? Nobody's paying for it because it's kind of free on all the other platforms. So I actually would argue that capitalism worked the way it's supposed to, which is they realized nobody's buying it. So we better make it better. That's how innovation happens, right? So the good thing is now they are baking agents into every workload. The key is if you have this Copilot license, you're going to get this agent for free and that agent for free and that agent for free. If you don't have the license, either you don't get the agent or they're going to nickel and dime you, When we get into things like the SharePoint agents, oh, we're going to charge you 12 cents every time a user uses it, which doesn't sound a lot until that adds up really stinking fast. And like any good freemium model, you start to realize, oh, it's cheaper to buy the Copilot license. So in fact, I actually see this as a good thing because again, I feel like having agents which are task specific, which are helping us actually get our job done, is valuable. Like people will pay for it because you will get to the point where you go, I can't live without it, and no other tool I want to work with is going to do this the way this tool has. So I actually feel like this is a good thing. I feel like agents are definitely moving in the right direction rather than just this general tell me how to do something, or generating text is awesome. I've used it in this deck, but again, if that's free, why would I pay for it if I can get it other places for free? And so adding this extra level of value is the right thing. So let's first talk about the Frontier program. So when I was at Ignite, I kept hearing this word like frontier for frontier companies. And I was like, what the heck is a frontier company? I don't know what a frontier company is. So the great thing about not attending Ignite is I could sit there and Google it during the keynote and be like, what the heck is Frontier? So basically, in Microsoft 365, you've got these inner rings and outer rings. And are you an early adopter? It's the same as if you're Windows Insider, and there are these different insider programs. The great thing about this is basically all it means is you're in the insider program for AI. That's what it means. But the great thing is there's no limitation on who can join. There used to be, but there isn't anymore. So literally anybody can. So I went into the tenant and I turned it on immediately. So a lot of what I'm going to show you today is only available if you have enabled Frontier. But the good thing is you don't even have to enable everybody for Frontier in your tenant. You can just turn it on just for several people and test it out. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to release it in the wild. I'll be totally honest, as I was preparing this presentation, the demos that I wanted to do for you guys, a lot, these agents, they're going to be great one day, but they are definitely not even in beta. I would say they're very much alpha phase because a lot of them are total garbage, what they're spinning out right now.
Hey.
I'm just going to be real. Yeah? Hello? Oh, okay. I thought somebody said something. So anyhow.
Sorry, I was trying to get my dogs to be quiet. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. At any rate, so I'll show you how you can enable it, and I'll show you real quick in my browser. But essentially, well, here's a screenshot. If you go to the Copilot settings in the Admin Center, and then you click on that first User Access tab, if you open up Copilot, go to Settings, click on User Access. It's the button at the bottom. It just says Copilot Frontier, and then you basically are like, who has access to it? Like that literally is it. It's very easy. So I highly recommend that you go turn it on. Easy as pie. There's no like you have to have so many users in your tenant or have so many licenses, nothing like that. If you have, as long as you have a Copilot license, you can get to it. All right, so once you get now, if you look at that list of agents, if you go to Copilot and you see the heading that says agents, it's going to show you a bunch of out of the box agents. They're created by Microsoft, and you'll notice in parentheses the ones that say Frontier. Those are the ones that you get if you're part of the Frontier program. If you're not part of the Frontier program, you're not going to see those listed. You're going to have a much smaller set. So if you guys want to see what I'm talking about today for some of these, that's what you need to do to turn it on. But it's going to clearly let you know that. Like you say, they are helpful. There's a ways for them to go, but I think like anything, I'm pleased at the direction they're heading. Are they production worthy right now? Absolutely not. But they can be helpful as long as you know what works and what doesn't. I'll put it that way, right? Okay, so there are some other agents. This isn't meant to be a comprehensive list, but I did want to point out that this list is basically if you go to Copilot in Teams, or if you go to Copilot in your browser, like the Microsoft 365 Copilot. But there are other agents that really are built into other tools. So A facilitator is the agent for, if you're in taking team meetings and you have sort of note taking, right? It's going to help you with creating an agenda and notes. It's going to save it to Loop. It's going to put it in the chat, etc. Facilitator is the single biggest. I would just say I would pay the $30 a month just for facilitator. To me, that is such a total game changer. So if you haven't used facilitator, try it. It means I am no longer taking notes during meetings. It captures it and it has it in Loop. And now that becomes part of our Loop. I can share it with the Loop workspace. It's part of every project team we have. It's just a whole thing that's amazing. And when I've had meetings, so for instance, if I'm, because it's not just transcripts, but it's summarization and of what the main points were and what are the tasks. You can even create planner tasks out of it. And now being able to open up Copilot in meetings, I can actually say, hey, I had a meeting with them a month ago. I can't remember. Did I talk to them about this? And I will actually ask specifics and it'll actually show me, you talked about it at the 1 hour and 15-minute mark. And it'll actually take me to that point in the video. So it's amazing. The sales agent is part of the Dynamics. That's basically Microsoft 365 Copilot for people that are Dynamics users. The project manager agent is baked into Planner. And so that is, you will only see it if you're working with Planner. We're going to talk about the Office app agents. You can access them from this screen as well. I don't know if it doesn't have it in this screenshot. But you can also access it from within Word, from within Excel. And I just saw announced, I think yesterday, that they have now they are releasing the one for PowerPoint as well. And then there are SharePoint site agents that we will talk about in a minute as well. Okay, so I want to talk specifically now about Office and SharePoint agents. I feel like these are probably some of the more highly valuable ones. I think they have more broad applicability to folks. After this, I'll talk about the other agents that are more based on Viva, which is probably more a subset of users that are engaging with Viva. So Office agents, one of the things we've run into that is very frustrating for people, and I ran into it literally last week, or even I think when I was building this slide deck, it was like, okay, tell me information about this or that. And it's like, okay, oh, I know what it was. I was trying to create a study guide because I want to, there's a new Microsoft exam